I've been looking for a nice leatherback edition of these three books for quite a while now, and I've been searching and searching. I did find individual copies. I can't remember who the publisher was, but they were a Catholic publisher, and they were making very nice products. However, they were also publishing all kinds of, well, maybe not all kinds of, but some rather hateful literature as well, and I didn't want to support that. So my search continued until I found this. This is, believe it or not, the Barnes & Noble's edition that came out in 2005. So this is probably one of the very first Barnes & Noble's leatherback editions to appear. The bonded leather has survived quite well considering the conditions in which this was clearly kept. Let me give you a look at how beautiful this thing is. Isn't that gorgeous? Absolutely gorgeous. It's a very different style altogether from the rest of my Barnes & Noble's books, and I keep it separately. I'll be doing my bookshelf review by the end of the coming week, and you'll be able to see how I do that. But you can see that this really doesn't fit at all with the rest of the Barnes & Noble's Classics editions, but that doesn't matter at all to me. It is the same height as the others, but other than that, yes, the style is very different. If I just show you like that, I guess Le Morte d'Arthur could possibly sit next to it, right? I think it. Yep, that could possibly work. Out of the ones that are down here, no, none of them are really in the same style. It's just that this one's only got gold. There are no secondary colours, which makes it stand out. And the same with these. These have all got secondary colours. The Dracula one doesn't. That could possibly work as well, I suppose. The Dracula one doesn't because I've got a dud, a copy of the dud one, which which didn't have the crimson. There are lots and lots of those on the market, unfortunately. Okay. Let's get back to the book itself. The book has been got it second hand, of course. This has been out of print for quite a long time. It's been quite badly stored, from what I can see. This is awful. The book arrived. It was sent from the US via Sweden, I think it was. The seller's called Thrift Books UK. I think that's their name, and yet it was sent from the US, and it came in a plastic bag. Basically, there was no buffering. There was just nothing at all. So this book has basically been through the postal service of half of the world, and with only itself to protect itself, really, or a thin sheet of plastic. I was absolutely shocked when I received it. Nevertheless, in terms of the leather, I guess we're getting a a view of how well or badly this bonded leather is surviving the span of 15 years. And yeah, we're starting to see a few cracks there, I suppose. I don't know if the newer books have been better treated, or if if it's just a question of where they're stored and how dry or humid that environment is. I try to keep my books in a healthy environment, but given the way this was expedited, that might not have been the case with this. In terms of the contents, so you have a really nice introduction, which I'll read the first paragraph of for you in a few moments. You can see the date of publication there, and it's sure enough, it's a Barnes & Noble copy, and then the dates of publication of the originals. There we are. The paper has browned quite a lot. Again, is that just a natural process, or is it the result of poor storage? Look how badly this has been handled. It's awful. Anyway, whatever. It looks very nice on the shelf, as you'll see when I release my bookcase tour this week. It's coming, I promise. All right. Nice index. Some notes. So I should tell you straight away. I've not read these yet. I bought them in order to read them because, my chosen path is, after all, Christianity, although it might not be recognizable as Christianity to most Christians. And that's okay. It's my own. I was going to say it's my own path, but it's certainly a path that's been chosen for me. So end notes at the end of each book, it seems. And then the end papers. There we are. So let me very quickly read you the first chapter of that introduction, that overall introduction. Each of the spiritual classics in the Wellsprings of Faith, so this book, Thomas Kempis, The Imitation of Christ, Theresa of Avila's The Interior Castle, and St. John of the Cross, The Dark Night of the Soul, remains strikingly fresh and relevant for modern readers. The books continue to inspire believers today, and yet were either products of conflict within the church or agents of religious upheaval. Kempis's book was spurred on by the Brethren of the Common Life, the Dutch religious community founded in the late 14th century that wielded great influence during the rise of the Reformation. Martin Luther, who was known to have read The Imitation, championed the supremacy of individual conscience over the authority of the church, a phenomenon which gave rise to the many Protestant denominations still with us today. Later, in 16th century Spain, two evangelical Catholic mystics, members of the Reformed Carmelite orders, Theresa of Avila and her disciple St. John of the Cross, likewise transformed Christianity through their struggles against church authority. Theresa's spiritual classic, The Interior Castle, asserted that contemplative prayer was not a practice only for the elite few, and that women should not be excluded from higher religious life. St. John of the Cross, whose The Dark Night of the Soul challenged traditional theological writing, employed mystical symbols and a lyricism that made him deeply suspect in the eyes of his superiors, resulting in his lifelong conflicts with the church hierarchy. Transcending time, place, and religious affiliation, these seminal works provide insight into the Christian theology and inspiration. There we go. It's a very interesting introduction, in fact. and just yeah, five pages long. And yeah, so there we go. That's my overview of the Barnes and Noble edition of these 3 books: The Imitation of Christ, The Dark Night of the Soul, and The Interior Castle, under the header Wellsprings of Faith. It's a book that I'm very pleased to have. I don't know if I can make the moral, what do you call it, compromise of getting those books from the rather hateful publishing house that I mentioned earlier. But actually I think this will do quite nicely on my shelf. Yeah, there we go. I hope you liked the video. Do remember to leave a thumbs up if you liked the video, and if you don't mind, and to subscribe down below also if you haven't already. Thanks ever so much for watching, and see you soon.